Barefoot Biker here. This is part 2 in a series of riding the recumbent in a group. I'm on the cruise bike Vendetta. It's a Saturday. There is the A group, unlimited, closing in behind me. I skipped the start of the ride so I could sleep in. And they're coming up behind me. Now, I don't know who's more afraid, if it's me or if it's them, but here they come. I'm going along at 20 miles an hour and they're at 26 or 27, coming up fast. That is the assassin on the front. He is an amazing rider. And there are a couple of other powerhouses right there. That's Schieffer and Tim Polito on the Carrera. So this is the A group, and this section is an hour long. I apologize in advance for the length of this video. You certainly don't have to watch the whole thing if you don't want to, but if you want to see what it's like, this is the ride. These guys have been working about 15 minutes to this point. Their average pace up to here has been about 24 miles an hour. So some of them, that's, you know, they're maybe already at their limit. They're just trying to hang on. And for others, they're just getting warmed up. So the first thing I want to do is I'm riding off the back and just trying to get a feel for what pace they want to ride. I don't know if you noticed, I want to let people get into the pace line. I don't want to be in their way. So I'm just going to let the pace line rotate in front of me. Every time somebody comes off the front, I'm just going to get on their wheel and let them slot in ahead of me. It's exactly what a wheel sucker does. And when I'm on the upright bike, I'm a sprinter. I need to do that. I'm just not great at pulling on the front in the wind for a long duration. I just want to get to the end and sprint. But no free rides. A lot of times you need to be on the front. Now on this bike, what I'll do is I'll just go up to the front periodically, just pass everybody, pull on the front for a while, and then come to the back. But right now I'm just hanging out on the back. You know, with the mirror on the Vendetta, it's easy to see behind me. I can tell where the traffic is, and I know I can get that wide on the turn because there's no one there. And I avoid all the sand in the middle of the corner and maintain my momentum through the turn. On the upright bike, you'll notice they get away from me pretty easily coming around a corner. When they accelerate, if I put in the same power in the Vendetta, I am not going to accelerate as quickly. It's heavier, so it's going to take a little bit more power to match them, to match their acceleration. But once I get up to their speed, it's taking me a lot less power to stay there. So that's Tim on the back, and he is also a sprinter. He's just a little bit stronger than me. He's got a great sprint. He also has a hard time pulling for a long time. And you get to know people as you ride with them. When he is on the back, a lot of times a little gap will open up and he'll sprint to close it down. When he does that, a lot of times he'll stand up, and when he stands up, his bike is going to come back about 18 inches. And so I don't want to be directly behind him just in case he does that. Or I want to make sure that I have enough space between us that I'm not in any danger of touching his wheel. Here I got more than a bike length. I'm way off the back. That's Scott Wark coming off the front now. He was there on the previous Saturday as well with this group.
Silky beat. Vendetta on the beat.
You notice I took a little different line through that roundabout. I didn't take the corner quite as tight, so I maybe covered a little more ground, but I was able to maintain my momentum a little more, so I don't have to do the acceleration coming out of it. Okay, so here I'm putting in some power so I can get up to the front. Just going to go by everybody. And I backed way off and just settled into the same speed we were doing before I was on the front. And this guy doesn't get into my draft. He's just going to stay back there. Now, if he were to come up to me, it would be about 5 to 10% easier. So it's not like following another rider, another upright rider, where the benefit would be about 20% in that position. The second person in line is having about 20% easier time than the third person in line. The third person in line, it's about 30% easier, and kind of stays at about 30% easier for the rest of the pace line. This is Mark Schieffer. When he came to the front, he came right up to me, and he's going to take advantage of the little bit of draft that he gets. His ankles are at least warmer. He's a very strong rider. Schieffer is tapering for a race that's coming up, so he's not going to give 100% today. I'm coming off the front. I'll just go all the way to the back before the corner. Now on the upright, if I were this far back, I would be freaking out. But here I know it's no problem just to add a little power and come right back. Pace dropped a little bit when Schieffer came off. Kind of depends on who's pulling, and I don't know why Tim and Mark switched places there, but they did.
You're listening to Redneck.
Scott's waving me through. He just got tailed off the back after his pull. It's super important if you're up front taking a pull that you get off the front before you blow up, because you need to expend even more energy to get back on the back. He actually almost made it back up to the group through this corner. Not quite though. Taking a little different line out of the draft because I know where the bumps are on the pavement. I like the smooth road better. So I've taken only one fairly long pull. These guys have taken a lot more pulls than me, so I'm a lot more fresh. Now as this guy's coming back, I just slide over into that lane, let him know that that spot's open at the back, and then I just slip back into it. He comes back, and then I'll do the same thing for the next guy. And I'm far enough back, they know they don't want to be that far back anyway. There is some danger riding at the back of the group like this. The first thing is, if one of them crashes, I need to get out of their way so I don't run over them. And that has happened. I haven't run over anyone, but I have watched crashes develop in front of me. And the other thing is, if somebody attacks, somebody launches off the front, I need to respond so that I'm there, and it's a lot harder to do from the back. You have to close a lot more ground if you're way off the back. I sit up a little bit in the corners. In that one, there's some sand there, and I want to put a little more weight on the front wheel. Okay, that's Tim coming off the front there. He is going to the back. I'm coming to the front. That's going to turn out to be important.
Drop this bitch.
This guy isn't going to take my wheel. I'm going 25, but their pace is slowing down. Which actually, if you're suffering, it's not a bad plan to get on the front and slow down. But remember, everybody behind you is getting more rested as you do that.
LSL. Drop this bitch.
So when he comes off the front, Schieffer is putting down the power. And right here, he really started to open it up. And I responded with some power myself. And the assassin immediately responded. We're going 32 miles an hour, and he's closing that up. And you can see way in the background, Polito responded, but he was at the back of the group. Now I come to the front and just maintain our new speed. The assassin's right behind Schieffer. And when I come off, I notice that Polito is gapped, and the rest of them are even further back. We're still going 30 miles an hour, so this is a big ask of Polito to get up to us, but he's trying. I've backed off a little, coasting. I'm just trying to help a little bit with whatever draft I can give.
LSL.
Still going 29 miles an hour, and we're just about there. They're right there, so I pull over to the left, and I'm hoping he catches, but Schieffer went to the front. The assassin came off the front, and Schieffer picked up the pace again. So 26 miles an hour is still going to lose them. So I get in front of Tim and pull at a pace I hope he can maintain. He's barely there. I let him know we have got to catch them by this corner or it is not going to happen. One final push, and there they are. He made it. That was an amazing effort. You know, a lot of times you're chasing like that and you don't know when, but eventually everybody's going to sit up like this and recover. My heart rate's coming down, almost down to 150 already, and there's a huge gap. So sometimes if you just stick with it like Tim did there, you can make it. You'll get a little bit of a rest. Not much of one though. Mark cranks it back up right here. Now Tim's completely in the red, so he's just going to follow the same strategy that I am, which is just to follow the wheel of the guy coming off the front. Mark wants him to go by, but he's not going to, which is smart. He needs to stay there. My heart rate's only 150. I'm going to go back up to the front and pull for a bit. Now, my FTP is only about 240, which is what I'm at right now. And I can maintain that power for 1 hour. And then after that, I'll be dead. So I can't do this forever, but I can do it for now. You know, for some number of minutes, I'll be able to do this. I can go. So I'm over it now. You know, a little higher than 240. So I know that I'm doing more than I can do. I couldn't sustain this pace to the end of the ride, but I know that I'm gonna go to the back. Assassin thought that Mark was attacking there as he came by me, but he was just giving him the spot on my wheel. The Assassin's he's so aerodynamic. He's got his elbows very bent in close together. His knees are almost touching the top too. His head's low, shoulders shrugged. Right there I said, "I've had enough, your turn," and he said, "No way." So now I'm stuck on the front and my heart rate's 170. So all I can do is slow down. Again, I'm using all of the road in these corners so I don't lose my momentum. So the Assassin has to sprint a little bit at the end of the corner just to catch back up. My heart rate's still at 170. I really don't want to be on the front anymore, but I don't have a lot of choice. And I also am not sure that he knows where the next turn is, so I decided to stay here for a while. Looks like the remnants from the time trial last Thursday are still on the top of the assassin's helmet. Our performance in the time trial was pretty similar in terms of time. The power required to go the same speed as me is 30% higher. The guy that finished 1 second behind me had literally spent 30% more energy to go 1 second slower. The biggest part of it is the position, but I also have the full disc rear wheel and 2-spoke front wheel. And yes, I finally did saw the ends off of my handlebars. Another thing that makes a huge difference is the water bottle holder on the back. It's kind of like how a truck is more aerodynamic when the lift gate is up rather than down. Having that there just makes the bike more aerodynamic. So I'm at just a little over 200 watts, still doing 26 miles an hour. Every once in a while I see him pull his elbows back in. It makes such a big difference. Your position on the bike is very important. I know the assassin wasn't going to let me off the front, but Schiefer, he fell for it. So my heart rate's still at 170, but we should see it start to come down while I'm drafting up. And once it's below 165, I know I've got enough that I could attack again if I wanted to. Here's the rest of the group. I don't think it was quite all back together by that point. That's John Van Note. He'd gone 130 miles that day. Yeah, my heart rate's way down now. When my heart rate's 170, sometimes it's hard for me to take a drink. I'm breathing so hard, I can't swallow. So when the pace is a little more relaxed, everybody takes a drink. But time for me to go again. Every once in a while they have to sprint back up to me coming out of a corner. I'm not going as hard as I can, but I'm going close to that. And some people like to be pressed like that. I think it's a good thing to kind of go above your comfort zone. You saw a week ago when I was riding them, I was definitely above my comfort zone, and eventually dropped by them, by the same crew in fact, after I took a little excursion off the road into the grass. But each time I get a little stronger. There's sand in the apex of this corner, so I'm taking it a bit wide. Now this pace from the point after the breakaway is around 26 miles an hour, maybe even closer to 27. But it's very steady. The speed is not changing a lot. There aren't many accelerations. When the assassin comes off the front, I back off just a little bit so the next guy in line can catch onto my wheel, but the speeds aren't changing. When you attack, like Schiefer attacked earlier, it takes a lot out of you. So when the pace is variable, when you're having people launch off the front and have to close up the gap, your average speed is going to be much lower. These guys are about an hour into their ride, and you can see the fatigue is starting to set in a bit. We're coming up to the corner where I departed the road last week. And the assassin gave me lots of space. Tim hasn't taken a pull since the attack. Now I'm starting to think about the finish. It's still several miles away. I'm definitely going to need to take a few more pulls before we get there. But I want it to come out so that I'm rested at the point where I want to sprint. Heart rate's back down to 155. I thought about going up there a minute ago, but decided to wait till after the corner. A lot of times when you see them kind of bunch up, instead of having them all in a straight line, that's the time to go. You know they're slowing down when that happens. It's not really a bunch when there's only 4 of us, but you still see it. There are a couple things that I think are harder to do on the Vendetta, or I guess impossible. One of the things is if there's a curb or something that you might want to bunny hop, that is not something you're going to do on incumbent. There's no way to hop the bike over something. Now, if you're in a pace line, you don't want to jump over something anyway, because the people behind you are not going to know that that's there, and you're going to wipe them out. But if you're on your own, or if there was some emergency situation where you needed to do something like that, that's just not an option. It's a little harder to feel the sand in the bars on the Vendetta. The sensation is just a little bit different. So when you're starting to lose traction, it goes in a hurry. But the speed is also generally a lot higher, and it's easy to underestimate your actual speed coming into a corner. So now I pay a lot more attention going into corners at what my actual speed is, so that I don't go through it at a pace that the corner can't support. So we're about 4 miles from the end here. And my heart rate's already back down to 160, just taking a slow rest on the back here. It's really pretty ridiculous. I'm running 27 miles an hour. It's taking 100, 200 watts to stay there. But I'm going to give it one more pull just before the finish of this mile, just before the stop sign. And see that they talked and bunched up a little bit and accidentally let me go. So now the assassin has to chase me back down. Well, he doesn't have to. He could have just let me go. I don't know why he doesn't do that.
Cosmic, 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 cosmic,
Now, I'm on the front here, but I'm doing under 200 watts still. I'm not killing myself. I'm trying to save something.
cosmic, 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 cosmic.
So we're about 2 miles from the finish now. My heart rate's high. It's 170. You kind of see that it goes in these cycles. And I'm trying to time it so that my heart rate is low when I get to the point that I want to sprint. So I'm coming off the front here. And I'll sit in again.
Don't open my boy Cosmic.
I remember one of the first times I finally got to the final sprint point with the assassin, and with a half a mile to go right after the stop sign, I gave it everything that I had, and I had an enormous gap. I thought, oh, there's no way he'll catch me. And I made it about 3/4 of the way to the finish from there, and he caught me and went right by. So kind of learned that the timing is important. So knowing that that's too early, what I decided to do is I'm actually going to go twice. I'm going to sprint, but then I'm going to let them catch me and sprint again. One more stop sign to go through, so we're just trying to be cautious here. Schieffer's on the front. Now, this is the worst trick in the book. You notice he's taking a drink. That is the time to go. So I hit it hard now. And they're gone. Now they've got to chase me. It looks like I'm free and clear, but I know that I'm not. So I backed off. And they're going to do everything they can to reel me back in. Now for Schieffer, he wants the assassin's doing the pulling. And Schieffer wants the catch to be close enough to the finish so that he can do a final sprint and go by me. But I'm making it, by going slower, I'm making the assassin catch me too soon. So he needs to hit it as soon as the assassin catches me, because I'm going again. But he didn't. He stopped pedaling. So now it's easy for me to just slip into his draft. And we both go at about the same time. But I came up through his draft, so. It didn't work out for him, but it could have. He could have gotten me there. He just needed to attack a little sooner. But you know, I think riding the Vendetta with the other upright riders, it really presses them, and it's a lot of fun. I like riding the upright bike with them also. It certainly takes more muscle. It's definitely a harder effort for me. But I think it's nice that we can kind of switch back and forth, that some days they're pressing me to my limit and other days I can press them to their limit. And we're all getting faster. So I think it's a good thing. They probably don't agree with that, though. Anyway, Barefoot Biker, thanks for watching.